What's going on, boys and girls? 37 Ghosts with another video. And this video is going to be a very pivotal moment in my life, series of events in my life that I definitely think it's a core memory, definitely think it's a core moment. And we're just going to get straight into it. I want you guys to, if you guys are listening like at home, just chill back. Just listen to the sound of my voice as you guys play video games or work out or while you're working, whatever you got to do. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. So growing up, I grew up in the majority of my childhood was in SoCal and LA County in a wealthy area. And wealth was pretty much the norm. I'm telling you, like my best friends, the neighborhoods that they lived around were pretty much they had, not specifically them, but they still had good stuff too. Like they had Porsches, but you would see Lamborghinis, you would see Ferraris, 6,000, 7,000 square foot homes, that are newly built, like gorgeous homes. And just the knowledge and wisdom of being around people that have wealth, it makes you think it's the norm, especially if you grew up around that. And the thing is, if you take yourself out of that, you kind of realize how exceptional those people are. Now, I'm not gonna say my family didn't have a good amount of money, but we were in a pretty good spot in like a pretty luxury apartment, just a nice little area, and the schools were amazing, and yeah, there was no real issues. Honestly, it was just you were just surrounded by wealth. You saw a couple celebrities here and there. It was just a good spot to grow up in. Now, when I was 13 in eighth grade, I had an experience with quote unquote homelessness. Now, when I say homelessness, I don't mean I was on the fucking street begging for money, but we were just not having a home to call home, not having a place to stay, and having to bounce around from hotel to hotel. During eighth grade, the people that I was living with got evicted, and we had to relocate. The people that I was being taken care of, they had a good amount of money. They were making good money, but during the 2008 crisis, everything fell apart and they never bounced back. So, and it just slowly declined after that, right? So after the eviction, right? It was a 10-day period where I just we were just bouncing from hotels to hotels, and I just felt absolutely hopeless. But I knew that it was going to get resolved. A lot of people pitched in actually and gave the people that I was living with a good amount of money, like thousands of dollars, and we actually got into a place, and it only lasted 10 days. I just remember how hopeless I felt, but I remember a lot of people were nice to me, like they almost knew I was going through something, and they I remember there was. I remember this vividly. Like I was walking down to school because it was like a courtyard where it had a bunch of places to eat, and it was like a mile down from my school. And I remember um, this Armenian girl that I thought was really cute at the time. She was just so nice to me that day, and we hung out, and we even took a picture outside of um one of the places there, and like you can tell like the chemistry, like we were like bumping heads, like she almost like knew to like nurture me in a way. It was kind of weird. Like I never told her what was going on, but it's kind of crazy that like people almost knew what was going on, right? Which I think is fucking fascinating, right? But it got resolved very quickly, and that kind of makes me want to touch about why I want to regain my purity. That's a totally another video that I will get into, the different versions of myself, and how lust influences everything. But let's get straight back into it. So yeah, it was only a 10-day thing, and we got into a place that was actually bigger, and the view wasn't as nice, but I was just happy that we had a place to stay, and that was it. So that was when I was 13. Now, when I was 16, it ended up happening again, but it was on a totally different level than it was this time. So the year is 2018. Fortnite is in prime effect. I am a sophomore in high school, and I was on the varsity football team. I was not good at football. I was weak as fuck, and I remember there was a time where I was. I might have touched about this in previous story times, but there was a practice in January of 2018 where I was we were flipping those big monster truck tires, and I literally could not fucking do it. And everybody was encouraging me to do so, and I got a few reps in, but I guess there was a point where I literally couldn't flip the fucking tire. And I remember that the quarterback, the starting quarterback, pretty much went over to me and was like, hey, don't worry about it. I can see how much potential you have in yourself. Don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna be great. Like, that was such an amazing moment. And I remember January, I ended up hooking up with the love of my life. After like pretty much asking her to get back with me. It was like I don't know. It was just like a weird highlight in my life where it was like things are actually starting to get better, and I was actually intending to be the 3.0 version of myself back then, but I had no idea how to do it. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, so it most likely wasn't going to happen anyway, but I was definitely improving in an amazing way. So I just kept it pushing, and I remember walking down from that practice of flipping tires, and there was a guy that I grew up with, and he just got his license. He got held back, so he was like a year older. So I was like 15 at the time. He was 16. He had like a Honda Accord. I remember he drove past me, and he was like, "How does it feel to walk, you fucking loser?" And I just remember, bro, like, I'm going to prove all these fuckers wrong. Like, I remember the girl that I hooked up with, that was the love of my life. She said that she only wanted to be friends, and she only did it to make me feel better. I remember everybody on the football team was doubting me. I remember he drove past me in that car, and I was fucking pissed. And I just told myself, like, 2018 will be the best year of my fucking life, and I'm going to rise above and I'm either going to attract that girl back, or I'm going to get better. I'm going to prove everybody wrong, and I'm going to show the fucking world who the 2.0 version of myself can truly be. Now I started to see the eviction notices happening again, and I didn't worry about it because it happens like almost every fucking month when I was living there, unfortunately. But it got to the point where the people that I was living with kind of confirmed with me, like, yeah, like this time we're actually gonna have to move out. And this time around, where I was at exactly, it was about April of 2018. I remember I hooked up with one of the most attractive girls at the time that I thought. And I wasn't stressing on it. I was winning Fortnite games. Like, I'm telling you, like, I felt like a king. I felt like I was actually starting to get with girls. I was starting to get stronger at the gym, and I was starting to level up in life. So I really didn't trip about anything. So we actually had to get evicted again. And I was just thinking to myself, I've done this before. It's only going to be like a 2 week to a month stint. Like, it's whatever. We're gonna bounce back. Little did I know that due to my family, how much money people gave my the people that I was living with, and they still fumbled. Nobody was willing to help us again. Not like they did last time. I'm talking about they gave us over like 10K. This time, like, nobody wanted to pitch in because, like, obviously the people that were taking care of me at the time were terrible with fucking money. So we never got that help that we needed, and honestly, well deserved, honestly. But I just tried to remember telling the people that I was living with. Like, I tried to influence them on how we could stay here for at least another year and a half. as we really kick in. And at the time, I really think we could have done it because at the time, dude, like we could have got like an Airbnb. We could have got something because I'm in an Airbnb right now. I just got approved for an apartment that I'm moving into in March. But like you could have got an Airbnb stay or something like that so that I can at least stay here. Like and like you guys can make money and save money and do your thing, but like they weren't thinking outside of the box. They weren't trying to one person that I was living with at the time didn't even want to work. I was thinking like, how can I work? But at the same time, my grades weren't that good, so it just wasn't looking good for any of us. And like the pride, the laziness for everybody just took a toll, and it didn't make fucking sense. Yeah, it really just sucked all the way around. Now we jumped to hotels, man, and then we were jumping into the worst fucking hotels. I'm talking about if you know LA, dude, you know the Motel 6, you know the extended stay, like that, all that shit. Like we were there, and it was the grossest thing. Like I remember having to the one of the most embarrassing stories I'd have would pretty much be like having to take a dookie and in the toilet not flushing, and then having the people that I live with have to plunger that shit down. It was so bad. Having to go to sleep when you hear the Latina next door just getting her back absolutely blown out, and it's just like it all just fucking sucked. And it was just such a tight space, and there was three people living with in that room, and it was, oh my god, I'm really thinking about it. We had two dogs too, and it was just a terrible fucking experience. And the people that I was living with were bad. Like their energy was just like they were very they criticized me. One of them criticized me a lot, and I just never felt like emotionally comfortable in certain realms, and it was just so fucking stupid. And like I couldn't play Xbox, and I realized I was addicted to Xbox, so like I actually beat that addiction indirectly by being homeless. But yeah, we were just all over the place, and we never had an official place to stay, just bouncing back over here, over there, over here, over there, and it just fucking sucked so bad. And yeah, I just remember just feeling how hopeless I felt. I felt the power of money. Like I would literally look at the only thing that really saved me during the time is I would look at videos like DDG or Nelk Boys just to tell me what's possible. Like I just remember back then in like 2018, like I was just watching them to feel like, oh yeah, this is what is happening. You get what I'm saying? Now, one thing that I realized is how other people treated you. So I had no game on what to do in this situation. I wasn't really taught about that. Like last time this happened, like I had a lot of nurturing, and a lot of people was just nice to me, like they knew something was wrong. But this time it was so extended that people just kind of slowly but surely kind of dwindled away from me. So the women that I was getting with, or the girls at the time, because I was 16 and stuff like that, were pretty much like just got worse and worse. I went to starting to get more and more attractive girls to starting to get with anybody, just to see like. Just to make me feel good, honestly, I started hooking up with the girls that you shouldn't get with, like the girls that like are known around the school as being like I'm not gonna say the mean word, but just being lustful, let's say like that. And I would just get with those girls, just knowing that I could get with them, just to like fill the void, and it never did. I remember the girl best friends that I have, they pretty much disassociated with me as I depleted. And a lot of the guy friends that I had would almost half of them would be there for me even harder and try to see what solution they could figure out, or talk to their parents and see if they could help out, which I still appreciate to this day. But a lot of my guy friends were pretty much just like making fun of me, saying like, oh yeah, you're fucking you're you're homeless, like tell the people that you're living with to start doing Uber Eats or whatever. Could he DoorDash him something, like shit like that? And I remember I had like this tight group of friends that like I they were mostly girls that like I just felt more comfortable with. I won't forget, like there was this gorgeous, and she's still gorgeous to this day, which is amazing. But this gorgeous Latina that I was friends with at the time, and I remember because I was gaining muscle, she would always like pinch my bicep like every day. She would be like, "Oh, I see the gains." And I remember she did it one time when I was during at this state, and she stopped doing it because she never told me this, but like I realized she stopped doing it because I was losing muscle because of the situation that I was going in, and it was just all fucking bad. And I still was able to um, associate myself with the most gorgeous women on campus, but it just wasn't the fucking same. It really was not the same, and like they weren't fucking with me. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh yeah, I was going crazy. Fuck no, I wasn't. It was just like the football team especially, like they didn't understand what the fuck I was going on. They kicked me out of varsity, put me on junior varsity, and even then I was getting my ass handed to me. Had one of the worst practices on fucking earth with this kid who's actually now dead. He died like a couple years back. This Ethiopian kid, and we had to run gassers like multiple times, which is pretty much sideline to sideline, just because we were the worst kids on the fucking team. And I remember eventually I got kicked off, and they told me to give them the pads back, and it was just like it was just an embarrassing moment. They didn't try to help me out. They didn't ask me what was going on. They just pretty much just got rid of me. And like nobody, when I would tell people that I was homeless, they would pretty much just brush it off as like, oh yeah, that sucks, like oh yeah, get your money up, don't focus, like you shouldn't be focusing on anything else, don't talk to me. Like it was just all fucking bad. I remember telling one of my quote unquote best friends like that I was homeless, and she said like, you shouldn't be talking to girls if you're homeless. Like it should not, no nurturing, no nothing. It's just like you shouldn't be fucking associating with people like us if you're fucking like if you have no place to stay. And it was just like a very humbling experience of just knowing. It kind of built trust issues because it's like I thought you guys were my best friends, but like you guys are treating me like shit. And I realized who to trust and who not to trust. And the majority of the people that I knew at the time, I really couldn't trust with actual problems, and they couldn't really help out because they were fucking wealthy, so they could even try to understand my perspective, if that makes sense. Now, eventually, I had to end up moving from SoCal to NorCal, in a place that's near Sacramento, and it wasn't the city. It wasn't the city, and I remember having like I had a good amount of followers at the time. I had like 1,500 followers on Instagram, and I just remember them starting to slowly dwindle off, slowly dwindle off, slowly dwindle off. Ever since I moved, the girl that I got with at the beginning of 2018 that I fell in love with, she slowly flaked off, and honestly, rightfully so. I'll get into that story time later. Um, all the girls that like I thought were my best friends, they went first. They immediately kind of like as soon as I moved out, like they pretty much just retracted first. My guy friends took a lot longer to retract, but they slowly but surely retracted to the point where I went from thinking that everybody was going to reach out to me, which they did, which I had like when I told everybody I was moving, I got like 600 views on the story. People were saying like good luck to you, like all this stuff like that, to like people not texting me, to people not reaching out to me having to reach out to them, like just shit like that. And like it's like even when I did reach out to them, it was just dry. They didn't care for me. It was just like very fake, and they didn't care what I was going through. And I know that's LA. I know that's the LA stigma that people are fucking fake, but I didn't realize it was to this extent. And mind you, the city that I was living in, it was the grossest fucking city ever. And I'm not gonna say ever, it wasn't ghetto, it wasn't a bad place to live, but it just wasn't where the people in LA wanted to be the best version of themselves. As much as I don't agree with the politics, they wanted to be the best version of themselves. Up here, they didn't know what could be, so they were even worse. Like they just kind of like the best you could find was somebody who wanted to go to college. No entrepreneurial shit. No, I wanted to strive for bigger and better. Just like, oh yeah, I want to go to a community college. I want to go to a 4 year. I want to get a trade. No, nothing more. And like it was typical to think like down in LA, like, oh yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to get multiple sources of income. Like these kids were talking about that in the single digits, like age 9, 10, 11, talking about multiple streams of income, talking about like drop shipping and shit like that, and like stuff like that. And now it's like they can't even think outside of the box, which made me and the worst part about it is I was prideful from where I came from. So I knew that I came from luxury. I knew that I came from wealth. So I almost treated these people as a lower class, which I don't regret it, but it wasn't the right move. I didn't make any friends, and I got a lot of attention from girls looking back at it, but it was not what I wanted. And it, in my mind back then, I took it as like, oh yeah, like I don't get girls. But yeah, you do get girls, just not the girls that you want. And the girls that I want, they never wanted me back. Like at least like in LA, like the pre-selection and all that stuff, and me leveling up and knowing my like the status at my school, I was able to get with more attractive girls. But up here, it was just like nobody knew who I was, so it was just like it was much harder to get my feet in the door with girls. So like I realized like, oh yeah, I might be fucking ugly, and in reality I was like slightly above average. But yeah, man, it was just it was I was totally fucking invisible, and it really fucking sucked. It really did suck. I ended up switching my identity because even though I was still the 2.0 version of myself, just due to the fact that how I was treated. I hated being the Mr. Nice Guys 1.0, and nobody treated me with respect. It was always pity. It was the girls, the boys. Like it was always like I don't take you serious. And as 2.0, I thought like moving up here, I could create a new identity. So I did so, and just was an absolute jackass. To honestly, the majority of people, like people would reach out to me to hang out, like in that city that I was living in, and I just rejected them and thought I was better than them. And the girls that like I got asked out to prom by a girl, and totally treated her like shit at the prom. Danced with other girls, like, and she was in the corner, sitting by herself. It was just like, dude, my identity just was so twisted, and I guess I didn't have good male guidance either. Obviously, because of the people that I was living with, they couldn't provide for me financially, and they gave up and moved back in with their parents. So it's just like it was just an all bad situation all around, and I had to find my masculinity, and it's a process that's still ongoing. Yeah, it's like I believe the biggest thing that helped me cope was um playing Xbox with my boys, because it was the only time where I felt like I was still there. But the biggest thing that hurt the most was because they always asked me, "Are you coming back? Are you coming back?" And I would always say, "Yeah." And the people that I was living with confirmed this until they got shaky, and to the point where it was like it wasn't happening. Like I was never going back. Using the people that I live with, it was up to me to do that. And I remember them losing hope on me coming back, so they slowly stopped being friends with me, which is kind of fucked up if you think about it, right? But if you really, I was on Xbox with my boys, and they would always go to parties. And for some reason, as soon as I left, like the party scene at that school just went fucking crazy. And I remember they would go to these parties, and it would be like we would all be running like squads on Black Ops 4 or whatever. It would be like 2019 or whatever. We would play Fortnite or whatever, even fucking Roblox and shit like that. But they would be like, "Okay, boys, let's go to this party." And they'd be like later 37 Ghosts, and then that would just leave me. It'd be like a group of 6 guys. We're in the party to now it's just 37 Ghosts, and I'm just playing Xbox. Mind you, when I was sometimes they would even stay just because they're like, oh yeah, the party's whack and I don't want you to feel left out. That's just, it goes to show how good certain people were to me. And shout out to my boys that were good to me. But like, it just kept happening where like sometimes the party was too good for them to not miss out on it, just to hang out with me. So they would fucking go, and I would see them on Snapchat maps, and like all huddled, like 20 people that I knew, all huddled in one area, and I knew what was going on. And I was just like, dude, that should have been my experience. That should have been my life. That should have been my career. Or my career, what the fuck. But yeah, I just knew that the people that was taking care of me could have done it, but they didn't, which fucking sucked. And I just felt like, I got robbed. I felt like, like if you didn't grow up with wealth, you kind of understand. You kind of don't understand what it's like to have wealth. So if you are given wealth, you are all the more grateful, right? But if you're wealthy and you get that shit taken away from you and you realize what life could really be, it's the most humbling experience ever. But it's such a more drastic change because it's like you depleted tremendously versus the person who is always poor. Like, that's just their baseline. They don't know what else could be, and it just fucking sucked altogether. And yeah, it just all fucking sucked, and I never got my aura back. I remember visiting during the summer of 2019, and like all my peers were just ahead of me due to the fact that the area that I was living in, they didn't like. I'm not gonna blame all of them on all of this on me, but it was definitely a factor. Or I'm not gonna blame all of this on the city, but it was definitely a factor, right? They never wanted to strive for greatness, so I just kind of the motivation kind of depleted. Like, I wasn't working out as hard as I could have, and I just got left in the dust. And I remember visiting my everybody in 2019, all the peers that I grew up with, and they were leagues ahead of me, and it just felt embarrassing, like following them around, and I made a fool out of myself, and it was just I never saw them again for the most part, and it just fucking, it was embarrassing, and this is why I want to be the best version of myself. Not even to redeem myself from those experiences, because they're too far gone for me to come back and be like, hey guys, I like, as a fucking 23-year-old when I was 17, like, hey guys, I'm back and I'm better. Like, nobody cares anymore. So I just have to accept that and just keep pushing. But it definitely was such a tragic experience. Ever since April of 2018, since I was immediately homeless, or initially homeless, have not been happy. It has been a combining factor of everything fucking up in my life. So you have the porn addiction that starts at age 12. Then you have the homelessness at age 16. Then when you think everything is getting back up and like, I'm excited to go to college, that's when a pandemic out of fucking nowhere in 2020 at 18 years old hits you like a ton of bricks, and now you have, again, no social life. And then because you have no social life, you kind of get radicalized by fucking podcasts, and now you're only listening to Joe Rogan and Republican podcasts, and dude, I don't know, like, this is not a normal direction. You get what I'm saying? And now you're 18 and you realize you have a porn addiction, and now you try to heal from that, and you think that because you became the 1.0 version of yourself, the 2.0 version of yourself quickly, like within 2 months, you think that like you're gonna go ghost and become the 3.0 version of yourself, and you think it's going to be easy. But literally, this has been the longest transition ever since, I'd say, March of 2021. Ever since I was 19, I've been trying to level up and become the 3.0 version of myself. And only until recently, I genuinely think this, next month, March 2025, I think I have every stat under the board to call myself the 3.0 version of myself. And I'm excited for what's to come. But it's just every front has been like, it's like World War I on the Western Front. every day it's like it's a stagnate, but I keep pushing. But it's like my life factors keep pushing. This bullshit job, this bullshit living situation, finances, women, gains at the gym, wanting to be the best version of yourself and create sources of income and get this YouTube channel picked up. And it's me every day, like waking up and pushing at each front every time. And it's like, it's kind of fun. It's like what front is going to give up first. And I'm starting to realize, like, as I got this apartment, as I'm starting to have sex again, I'm starting to approach women again. I have a new batch of women, which is cool because honestly, as painful as the girlfriend zero story was, which you guys can just check out my channel to see how my first relationship, quote unquote, it wasn't my first relationship, but went. Like, now that I have a new, like, I have a new threshold, like a new baseline. Like, I don't think about anybody in my past. I'm only focused on what happened with girlfriend zero and all the new women that I'm going to meet, not anybody in my past, which is, such an amazing feeling. Like, it's a real new chapter in my life. And I started integrated MMA training recently, and I'm excited for that. And yeah, man, it's just, I really think I'm going to be able to call myself 3.0, and 3.0 is the healing journey of all of this, everything that I am talking about with these videos. I am healing from, and that's going to be 3.0, and the 4.0 is the result of that healing. So that's what I created this YouTube channel to be about. But at this stage, and I know you guys want more POV videos, and trust me, you guys will definitely fucking see more. It's more so just to get a point of view on who I am and who the person I'm becoming, and what my baseline is. And this is what this current stage of this YouTube channel is. So yeah, if you guys like this type of content, just let me know. Let me know what stories you guys want to know about, anything that you guys want to know. The lessons learned that I took from this is just pretty much that I guess you shouldn't trust people with with what you're going on, because they might use it against you. You will only know who your true friends are when you are when you're down bad. Don't be surprised if women leave you when you're not doing good in life. Like, I'm telling you, like, that shit will hit hard. And honestly, vice versa, it could be the same way with men to women. You get what I'm saying? But just don't be surprised if your relationships fall apart, whether that's love relationships or like friend relationships. And like, just keep pushing. Just keep fucking pushing. And that's one thing I tell myself every day, whether it's my job experience, whether it's girlfriend zero, whether it's my first car experience. Keep pushing, and it will all make sense in the end. And one thing that's amazing is when I transitioned into the 2.0 version of myself, I never regretted anything that I did during the process of becoming 2.0. And I feel as though I'm going to do the same as I transition into 3.0. And the reward that I get for becoming 3.0 and 4.0 will outweigh everything that I went through during all that I'm talking about with these videos. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for listening, and yeah, later.